Dear colleagues, partners, friends, hello. I'm glad that we have this opportunity to have this meeting with you in the beginning of the year. It's our traditional event summarizing our achievements for the previous years and showcasing some of our plans for the next year. You will hear from our program managers and also from representatives of the communities who got some support from DRC. We hope that this is going to be an interesting event for you, and let's give the floor to Brio Lemerle, the director.
Thank you, Dina, and good morning to all of our guests. I'm very happy to welcome all the participants to this New Year greeting events. As Dina said, it has become a custom of DRC Ukraine over the past few years. We take the opportunity to wish all of our partners success and best wishes in the year that has just started. But it is also a time for us to share with you the successes of the past year that you all have generously contributed to, either financially or by cooperating with us. So the beginning of this year is a bit particular because of the renewed geopolitical tensions with Ukraine very much at the center of it, and also because we see that the COVID-19 pandemic is not giving us any rest despite of the progress that were made on the vaccination front. So all of this may give a grim perspective on what may lay ahead in the new year. And it is certainly a reminder to all of us that populations in Eastern Ukraine are still bearing the brunt of more than 7 years of hostilities. They continue to face hardship in all aspects of their lives, as we see in our daily work. But it is also very important to remember that our action does produce positive results, and that we, humanitarian actors, are able to bring about change and to help the communities that we support to drive these changes. So DRC, like other organizations, had many successes to celebrate with these communities in 2021, and there is a lot that we would like to achieve in 2022. And this is what my colleagues will present in just a few moments. I hope that we will provide useful knowledge and information about our activities. And for those of you who are maybe less familiar with our activities, I hope that we will learn more about our programs. But before I hand over the floor to my colleagues, I would like, first of all, to say thank you to all of our teams for the tremendous efforts and work they have made in 2021 to make these successes possible. And likewise, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our donors, to the local and national authorities we work with, and to other international and national organizations and agencies we cooperate with for their contribution to our work. It means a lot to us. So I wish all of you a good event and a very successful year ahead. Thank you very much again.
Дякую, Бріо, за цю високу оцінку.
Thank you, Brio, for this high estimate of the efforts of the DRC team, and also for reminding us that there are still needs of the population affected by the conflict. So,
назва сектор гуманітарного роззброєння та миробудування. І наразі ми дізнаємось від керівника сектору Альмітіни Мусіч, що ця назва означає, чи є діяльність цього сектору зовсім новою, чи ми продовжуємо напрямок.
There are some areas in which DRC has worked already or has just started doing so.
Thank you, Dina. Dear all, I'm very glad to open today's presentation and event, starting with humanitarian disarmament and peace building sector, which is actually, to many of you, known previously as DDG, or Danish Demining Group. We have been communicated with many of you so far about the transition, but let me first, before I start with achievements and successes, to remind about the key differences. So humanitarian disarmament and peace building sector, in addition to mine action, takes into consideration weapons and ammunition management, security governance, and conflict management to actually reach and to respond to the individuals and communities that are affected by the conflict and displacement. However, when we talk about 2021 achievements, we are still being very focused on humanitarian mine action. And out of 5 pillars, we are still working humanitarian demining, concentrating our efforts in Lugansk Oblast. Our victim assistance and explosive ordinances risk education activities have been provided to communities along the line of the contact and managed by Mariupol, Slovyansk, and Severodonetsk office. Advocacy efforts have been managed by support of our legal unit team in our country office in Kiev. There are 2 gray areas, as you can see on the screen, and that DRC has not been working in Ukraine yet. There are explosive ordnance disposal and stockpiles reduction. I will start with the achievements of humanitarian demining teams. By the end of 2021, we succeeded to have 8 demining teams, including medic teams in each. We succeeded to have now 2 independent non-technical survey teams, additionally supported by internal quality management team and information management team. All in all, there are more than 100 national staff, including 6 expatriate technical advisors and other support staff that are now trained and skilled to conduct manual mine clearance and survey techniques together with the marking. These teams in 2021 succeeded to release almost 1 million of the square meters of affected land. Our mine clearance operation have been increased greatly when we compare with the 2020, thanks to the increased number of the mining teams. While doing this mine clearance, our demining team succeeded to identify various explosive ordnances, mortars, grenades, and fuses, as well as submunition carrying rockets. On the other hand, non-technical survey teams succeeded to visit 44 settlements and to identify 24 new polygons with confirmed or suspected hazardous area with the overall size of 22 million square meters. As DRC mission in Ukraine is to increase Ukrainian capacities, in addition to internal demining teams, we succeeded to and continue actually to with the capacity building of the state emergency services for Ukraine. This project have been managed by 1 team made of all national employees, including 1 female medic. This medic is, in addition to training, is able now to conduct regular quality management, quality assurance and monitoring visits. In addition to 6 demining teams that we succeeded to equip so far, in 2021, we succeeded to complete procurement of additional 7 demining teams, including medics. We also succeeded to equip 2 NTS teams and 1 EOD teams with now very special armored vehicles. All this procurement, of course, was followed with the specialized training sessions. And in 2021, we succeeded so far to train almost 400 personnel under the state emergency services of Ukraine to conduct various demining operations, including the medic support to demining. Of course, the work of the mining has to be followed and has to be in line with the standard operational procedures. And DRC has also was working on improvement of these SOPs to for state emergency services to be able to independently conduct humanitarian demining activities. As a last activities for support of the state emergency services of Ukraine, DRC, together with our partners, ICRC and UNDP, succeeded to increase, and we are still working on increasing the capacities and in the SAS operational cell in Rubizhny in order to be more operational. Also, we planning to finalize the setting up of detectors maintenance center in their training center in Merefa, where majority of our training has been held. I will now move to explosive ordnance risk education results of 3 teams. They succeeded to conduct over 2,000 risk education sessions and reaching over almost 30,000 beneficiaries. This direct session has been made either in community or in schools. In addition to direct session, they were doing rapid session, either in the door-to-door because of the COVID, or at the exit entry cross points. Risk education team has been also supporting the mining and doing community liaison. And they are installing informational boards to additionally warn about the threats or about the demining operations. And the last implication or innovation in 2021 was the creation of augmented reality application that we implemented in both Oblast, Lugansk and Donetsk, and we have very, very good response and the welcome for this application from the school children. Now I'm already on the victim assistance pillars, which is conducted in support of our protection unit. And our teams, even on the slow profile, still succeeded to continue with conducting need assessment and case management with the targeted mine victims, providing them some individual assistance, which in many cases, and so far confirmed, has been supporting them to reach specialized medical facility or rehabilitation center. However, our work doesn't stop there, and we are working with other service providers and duty bearers and providing them training on inclusion, sensitization, and diversity. With these activities, we will continue in 2022 as well. The last pillar and the last activity that DRC is doing under the mine action is advocacy for policy change that has been done, as I said, mainly from our country office in Kiev. We are working on improvement of legislation in mine action law, improvement of national mine action standards with other stakeholders, and the important that our efforts will be focused on capacity building of the National Mine Action Authority and National Mine Action Centers, all 3 together, in 2022 and afterwards. The last, but not least, I'm pleased to again thank all the teams and the members across the humanitarian demining department, doing all the best to obtain 5 certificates of conformity for all mine clearance methods as well as risk education activities. Our certificates for conformity are not only in line with the National Mine Action Standard and ISO standards, but with international mine action standards as well. So again, thank you for listening and watching. And I would like to thank the donors for continuing support, and will give the floor further to my colleagues. Thank you so much.
Дякую, Альмедіна, тобі.
Thank you, Almedina, to you and your team for the great contribution you are doing together with the government institutions to strengthen the safety and security of people in the east of Ukraine. Now let's speak about the economic development, which is in high demand in Luhansk and Donetsk Oblast. So let us hear from.
Okay, hello everyone. So we'll be presenting key achievements delivered by the Livelihoods program during 2021. But I would also like to concentrate during this presentation on our vision about future programming in terms of economic development. Okay, so let's start. Next slide. Okay, so one of the key highlights is so-called area-based development programming that is piloted and championed by the Livelihoods Department. And right now we are concentrating our efforts in 20 communities of Eastern Ukraine, in Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast. Just to tell you a bit more about area-based development, it is about complex set of activities within the given communities to strengthen economic competitiveness and support the priority development directions of each community. For example, if the area is concentrated on growing the vegetables, then our aim would be to support the vegetable processing facilities, value addition. And then we have our protection department that will invest resources in irrigation water, which is essential for the vegetable growing. Then our advocacy team, legal lawyers, will support legislation gaps when it comes to vegetable growing, processing, marketing, etc. So we are trying to achieve cumulative results employing area-based development. And that leads to the next point. We have already funded 12 large co-investment grant projects that already benefit up to 1,300 households. And these interventions are aimed at strengthening the agricultural machinery services, fodder production, honey processing and packing, meat and dairy, vegetables and fruit processing sectors, sheep breeding, manufacturing, and hospitality. And again, DRC's approach is always to ensure accountability principle towards our beneficiaries. So these interventions are selected based on intensive consultations with local population. What exactly do they need? When it comes to agricultural machinery services, for example, we noticed that there is a very high demand for tractor machinery equipment in rural areas because the existing stock is very much outdated. So that's why we are directing our heavy investments in terms of replacing those assets. So again, we are talking about tangible assistance that is translated in specific assets, machinery, equipment, etc., so that we see that beneficiaries are receiving real assets versus soft interventions. Also, like next point, we're also investing in vocational education. And similar to other components, we are using the individual approach. That means that we are assisting each and every person to acquire those skills they think is relevant for the job market and that can help them to find a new job or launch a new business. So instead of general trainings, for example, how to use Excel or how to write a CV, we offer individual training opportunities to every applicant. And we are covering very diverse sectors in this case, again, based on the needs of each beneficiary. Next slide. We're also providing micro-business grants. I was mentioning an example of co-investment projects such as dairy, vegetable processing, etc. So in order to strengthen those value chains, we are also supporting small-scale businesses around those processing enterprises. For example, If in a given village we have supported a dairy plant, which is buying a milk from the local population, and then it is being processed into other dairy products, we will also try to support small-scale dairy farmers so that they can buy additional cow or specific equipment. We are also supporting employment centers in Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast. So up to 40 units have been provided with, again, very tangible, specific assistance in terms of IT equipment, furniture, rehabilitation of premises where they operate, etc. And Marinka Employment Center is a very good example where we have invested really lots of resources to make that employment center operational. We have also responded to COVID-19 crisis caused by the restrictions. First of all, this was multi-purpose cash assistance for those households who lost income as a result of the restrictions imposed by the government. But also we helped local businesses to help them to diversify their business model and switch to new modalities such as online service provision, delivery services, etc. And again, every time this is a very tangible assistance in terms of equipment, specific assets, etc., based on the initiatives expressed by the businesses themselves. Next slide, please. And I think this is the most important slide because we are always about future, about new directions. And first point you see here, DRC sees a very dire need to start working, intensify working in terms of helping the mining towns in Donbas. We know that government of Ukraine is now subsidizing those mines. They're unsustainable. There are lots of debts in terms of salaries of the miners. There are lots of protests, etc. And in 2027, there is a plan that these mines will be closed. And this will cause massive disaster in terms of spiking the unemployment rates, depopulation of the areas, etc. So in our opinion, there is a need to start specific projects today in those locations so that we help small and medium businesses to develop there and create alternative employment opportunities that can save those towns and create new employment, especially for women, because women suffer from this situation in a much higher scale. And we are already piloting a very good project within Zolotoye town, where we have already funded several tangible businesses. One of them is production of slippers. We did it with the support of local entrepreneur, and this facility only has created 20 new jobs for women. And we have other sets of activities planned within this town. But again, in our opinion, this type of scale should not be limited only to Zolotoye. There are many. There are up to 12, from 12 to 15 locations where this type of multifaceted interventions should be taking place to offer alternative employment opportunities to the population residing there. The next priority direction for us is to elaborate a cooperation model with Ukrainian banking sector to start provision of affordable business loans. Most of the international organizations right now, they provide grants, but we understand that this is not a normal situation. Business cannot be eternally supported by grants. So at some point, we have to switch to loans provision. But you know that because of the ongoing war, many problems now, the banking sector is very reluctant to engage in that, or they provide business loans at a very high interest rates. So now our mission is to elaborate a new working model that will provide much more flexible and cheap loans for the businesses in Eastern Ukraine. Let's see how it goes. Now we are researching the potential modalities. The next priority is durable housing solutions via mortgage loans. So this is somehow linked with the previous point. So if our collaboration with banks goes well with business loans, the next step will be to explore the opportunities to start provision of mortgage loans for IDPs, again, at affordable percentage rates. We definitely need to continue area-based development programming that I was mentioning before. This is very much relevant. That is, we already see the tangible results produced as a result of this programming. So new project proposals will be also designed using that principle. Next point, our mission is to strengthen cooperation with private sector and private investors. So we should not be depending only on institutional donors. And our mission is to look for win-win schemes where a private investor from other oblasts of Ukraine or even outside of Ukraine is coming to Eastern Ukraine and investing in new productive facilities. And DRC's role will be to facilitate those linkages, but also to help our beneficiaries, vulnerable groups, to be engaged in such investment schemes so that our target group is also benefiting as a result of those investments. And the last point is to do more integration of youth, women empowerment, and environmental components into our livelihoods programs. So that's something which also needs to be explored during 2022. That's all. So next slide is like a picture of our team. This is again opening ceremony of Sleepers production workshop in Zolotoye town, which I was mentioning earlier. And this is like a PPP type of investment. So there was a local government who were very keen to have this new productive facility opened in their town. We also identified a potential entrepreneur who was ready to invest their resources. And there was DRC's investment that resulted in this, I would say, excellent new business in this frontline and mining town, which is very much depressed. But I think this type of investments create a new hope there. So we have to try our best so that we have more and more initiatives like that in the future. Thank you very much.
Дякую тобі, Вахтанг, і твоїй чудовій команді.
Thank you, Vakhtang, to you and to your wonderful team. We wish you success and broadening the scope of the activities you have mentioned. And now I'd like to mention that it's important to see the accomplishments, not only to hear about them. And our communications department has made a video, which we are going to watch right now.
Every year, we often take a moment to look back at the last 12 months. Despite all the COVID-19 restrictions, despite the new and difficult working modalities, much has been achieved. Thanks to the commendable efforts of all the DRC staff, dozens of communities in eastern Ukraine managed to implement their own initiatives and projects. Legal assistance and counseling were successfully adapted to help vulnerable individuals and families to claim their rights. Small business holders received emergency cash assistance to cope with the unexpected circumstances induced by the pandemic, as well as more complex economic and business projects were launched thanks to the persistence of our livelihood teams. Our Humanitarian Mine Action Program has grown significantly, which gives DRC a solid basis to continue its humanitarian demining, risk education, capacity building, and advocacy activities to reduce the impacts of landmines and explosive ordnance. And we were able to successfully proceed with a cross-border capacity building program to support the Ministry of Reintegration of Temporary Occupied Territories with internally displaced persons integration and peace-building policies. Behind all these activities were over 200 DRC employees whose commitment and daily contribution made this support possible. So we asked them to share the most memorable moments of the year.
In 2021, despite continued difficulties with the COVID-19 pandemic, DRC educated over 30,000 people of Eastern Ukraine in explosive ordnance risk education. We also strive to break innovative frontiers with various digital risk education efforts. For example, with the launch of the risk education online courses in NGCA, as well as with the development of a mobile augmented reality application. I'm also super glad that the DRC's mission in Ukraine managed to receive certificates of conformity in line with the Mine Action Law of Ukraine for mine clearance, battle area clearance, technical survey and non-technical survey. It is especially noteworthy that DRC is also the only demining organization in Ukraine that has been certified for the explosive ordnance risk education in line with the said law and national standards. This means that DRC is fully equipped to continue with humanitarian mine action activities in 2022, helping the people in Eastern Ukraine adapt safely to new living conditions in contaminated areas.
I am very proud to celebrate the tangible impact of my program work on IDP integration and peace-building policies in Ukraine. We have supported the Ministry for Reintegration of Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine in the adoption of the Idp Integration Strategy and produced the guide on IDP integration criteria for the state monitoring system of IDP integration. Moreover, we have developed the visionary concept for peace-building policy in Ukraine through an open and inclusive process and contributed to the establishment of the Ukrainian National Center for Peacebuilding. But we still have lots of work ahead, and I am very excited to be a part of this remarkable process.
Recently, I helped a young mother to defend her rights in court. Living in a non-government-controlled area, she could not receive in time the children goods provided by the Ukrainian government. By the decision of the court, she was awarded compensation for the cost of goods she was entitled to. With this support, Katerina can purchase basic supplies for her baby. Young parents are in dire need of support, and I was happy to help Katerina stand for her rights.
I remember the words of a young woman from Troitsky. We helped her family to acquire a cow and a calf. And in a few months during post-monitoring, she happily announced that their livestock is growing. They bought some more calves on their own, and she added, "The support of DRC gave us confidence that we can start all over again." For such moments, I would like to work and help people in Eastern Ukraine even more.
Well, I remember the Cbi Project in Bilobotsk. We cleaned up a huge dump to contribute to the garbage recycling project, which we helped to implement. Now, with the DRC support, all 33 community settlements have access to the garbage recycling, which we are very proud of.
For 8 years, DRC has been supporting conflict-affected persons in eastern Ukraine in becoming self-reliant and works with communities, civil society, and responsible authorities to promote the protection of rights and peaceful coexistence. And we will do more, because we are there.
Рухаючись далі, я би хотіла надати слово керівнику.
Moving forward, I would like to give the floor to Katerina Mashenkov from the legal support department. And legal support, by the way, is one of the areas in which DRC is active. So, Katerina, the floor is yours. Thank you, Dina. Hello, everyone. And this video has now reminded me that I have been with DRC for 8 years. I'm proud of this, and I have a rise of positive emotions right now. So I do agree that the protection team is in the heart of DRC activities, and the most important principle that we are following in our teams, that's the first principle, not to do harm. And as you have seen from, as you have heard from my colleagues, the previous year has been very active. The same can be said about our team. We have implemented a number of activities, so let's hear about our accomplishments. Over the last year, all the teams were collaborating on the long-term integration projects. And for us, for my team, this has a special significance. Over the last year, we have supported 45 communities which had challenges with infrastructure. There were different kinds of support provided. Sometimes it was about the technical equipment from municipal enterprises. We organized the collection and recycling of waste. We established youth centers, introduced water supply and street lighting. So there is lots of burden on the local communities. We support them and we build strong communication with them. So we hope that the communities, thanks to this, could get this taste of implementing projects and get inspired for the new initiatives. We are going to continue supporting local initiatives, and we can see that new local NGOs are being created, which creates opportunities for the communities to take part in other international projects. So we are continuing our work in the following areas. The youth work, you probably can recall that last year we had a research project on the youth at the contact line. This informational product got lots of attention from the governmental institutions as well. And also we are active in the protection from the explosive remnants of war. And thanks to our efforts, we could see some positive and constructive changes in the legislation. We got the new resolution number 1020, which introduces new mechanisms for the protection of victims. That's a one-time compensation and the annual medical support. Also, we had a short-term project for the support of the affected in Donetsk Oblast. And as Medina has mentioned, in the beginning last year, we started a large project in Luhansk Oblast. My team is going to be supporting those impacted from the explosive remnants of war, and also supporting in the inclusion of the victim in the social life of the communities. And I'm very pleased that we have some prospects for the year 2022 and the next years as well. We are going to work in peace building projects, supporting women together with capacity building problem, and we since last year are supporting in the work of protection from gender-based violence. We also want to join our efforts with the legal aid and economic development team. We are going to deepen our cooperation with the local authorities and activists in order to support the social and economic infrastructure. And also, since you have heard about the types of activities we need to do, let me explain how we are going to do that. So we want to go local, go digital, and go green. We want to work closer in the development of the local potential, we are going to introduce the online versions of our training materials, and we are going to support the communities in the preservation of their natural environment. I'm proud of my team, and without this team, of course, we would not have those fantastic results. I'm grateful to all of them for their productive work, and I hope that together we will be able to implement all our plans. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Katya, and I wish you a success in what you are doing. Yeah, so thank you for the work you are doing, and wish you success in the future ones in order to implement the potential of your wonderful team. So moving forward, I'd like to mention the new and interesting work of our legal support department. We now work closer with the local communities, and let us give the floor to Isaac Robinson, who will speak more about this kind of work.
Good morning. Before I go into the achievements for 2021, let me remind you that we are in a situation where for the last 20 months, the NGCS have restricted movement, and we have 90% drop in the traffic. So that has created a massive amount of backlog in the side of NGCA. And as a community, as a humanitarian community, we still have to have a plan how we need to respond to those backup cases. So that's the NGCS side of the legal aid. But on the GCS side, I would say that the situation is quite encouraging. And before jumping into the achievement, let me say, in the humanitarian legal aid sector, we are kind of an intermediary between the individual and the state. And in Ukraine, the legal disputes are more between the state versus individual. So it's basically we are an unnecessary intermediary, but it's necessary in the context of this country. But our goal is how quickly we can make our job redundant and then connect the individual with the system directly. So that has been our goal since we started in 2015, that we want legal aid to collect the evidence and advocacy to advocate so that the system cures itself and there is no need for intermediary. And if you look into the way that we are progressing towards that is in 2015, we had served 100,000 individuals. And last year we served only 12,000 individuals. And we consider that as a success because we have been seeing that our last 7 years of advocacy effort has systematically improved the legal framework, had made process faster, had made process simpler, and then had made process more accessible to people. So that is the encouraging sign. And then we also see two broader dynamics, which is giving us more encouragement that in coming years, we will see more and more of our job redundant, which is one is the localization efforts that has brought more services close to the people. And the other is the state digitalization effort that's bringing more services accessible to people. So it's basically our achievement comes through advocacy, and this is where I will say we are more of an advocacy player than a legal aid player. And our advocacy goal, as I mentioned, is to ensure that the law responds to the need of the IDPs and the conflict affected people. The law is simpler, law is cheaper, and the law and the processes are easily accessible. So what are the achievements that we have done through advocacy in attaining that? And again, this accumulative effort for years. This is also often collective effort by many humanitarian actors. In some of the advocacy sectors, we have been working alone, and most of the advocacy sectors, we have been working collectively with other humanitarian actors. So I will give you an example of few of those areas where the advocacy outcome started to become visible last year. The one and the biggest one is in the mine action sector. We have the amendment to the mine action law, which has brought in the mine victim assistance provision. And then also at the end of the year, right in the December or November this last year, we also got the institutional framework done. So this is a very long-standing advocacy thing that we have started many years ago, and then we have seen some very good progress last year. There's still some advocacy need to be done to make sure that those provisions are actually practically implemented. So then there was another advocacy thing that we started 4 or 5 years ago, which was like people who were lands are restricted by mine and UXOs and then other security concerns, they couldn't cultivate that. They're still paying tax. And we have persuaded many local self-government to waive taxes. And more importantly, like our approach had been endorsed by the Oblast administration, that they are recommending other actors to follow that. We are also advocating that people who has rebuilt houses after the conflict without following the procedure, they get amnesty or waiver from prosecution. And then we got a consensus from the government that is under a draft law now. And as like any other actors, we have also worked with the compensation mechanism on for damage and destroyed property. Next slide, please. Next slide. Sorry, yes, the previous one, please. The previous one. Yeah, thank you. Now, this is a brand new component for us. This is our HDN component. We work with the local self-government. These are the gramadas. It's basically like if you go to the conflict-affected contact line region, you will see that there are two major needs. One is basically livelihoods. Another is access to state administrative and social services. And if you are IDP, you have an additional need, which is access to housing. Now, when it comes to livelihoods, you need the environment for business, you need the infrastructure for business, you need the incentive for business. And these are the things which cannot be done without the local self-government's contribution. And when it comes to physical access to state administrative services, you need the road communication, you need the public transport. This cannot be done with the local self-government. So that's where we come in. Resource is not always an issue because there are many states, central government subventions, which the local self-government are not using. We found that the major issue is actually efficiency. So to bring back efficiency in the local self-government, we have seconded 8 lawyers, and the roles of the 8 lawyers is actually navigate the local self-government through all the legal process and other processes so that those local self-government can undertake social and economic initiatives. And we have started to see that some of the social and economic initiatives the local self-government have taken and implementing. We currently have like 12 initiatives running. And on the right-hand side, you will also see that we also do some advocacy so that some of the obstacles for local self-government to initiate social and economic initiatives are removed. One of that is on the electrical land auction. Then CMA was facing some problem with the land leasing. They had some problem on notary services. They had some problem with initiating social and economic projects. So these are where actually we help the local self-government, including the CMA, and CMA stands for Civil Military Authority, to make sure that they can undertake social and economic project. And in the interest of time, I will skip my last slide. Thank you. Over to Dina. Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac. Дякую, Isaac, і бажаю теж.
Thank you, Isaac, and I also wish success to you and your team in the forthcoming year. And we are pleased to see that over the last year, the capacity building program has expanded its capacity and strengthened its collaboration with the government sector. The floor goes to Eka Gwalia.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you very much. Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. Thank you all for your interest and participation in our event today. Just a reminder about the objective of our cross-border capacity building program, which I will be further referring as CBCB program, is to strengthen and develop the capacities of the state institutions in Ukraine on two areas: internal displacement and peace building, based on the national and international best practices and lessons learned. Our primary beneficiary so far has been the Ministry for Reintegration of Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine, MRTOT. We do capacitate the MRTOT under three major domains, and these are the following: IDP integration and durable solutions, peace building, and institutional capacity development. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I will be briefly presenting our last year's achievements separately by each domain. And let's now focus on the IDP integration domain, where we provided technical assistance to the MRTOT in enhancing and finalizing the draft IDP integration strategy, which is covering the period of 2021-2024. And as you might all, of course, know, this strategy was adopted by the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine in late October last year. Also, in addition to that, we have also developed and transferred to the MRTOT the concept paper, which we also call guidelines for the state monitoring system of IDP's integration in Ukraine. This concept paper was informed by the findings of two researches, which we are also commissioned by our program, and reinforced by the international expertise and comprehensive consultative process with both state and non-state actors. Next slide, please. Under the peace building domain, we have accomplished several major achievements over the last 12 months. We produced the conceptual framework for peace building policy in Ukraine through an inclusive process which involved over 90 organizations and more than 200 persons with profound expertise in peace building. The purpose of this concept is to shape the framework for peace building policy in Ukraine, which can add value to effective planning and coordinated activities of both central and local governments, as well as civil society in the field of peace building. Moreover, we contributed to the establishment of the Ukrainian National Center for Peace Building under the MRTOT, and shaped the peace building pillar of this newly established institution. And last but not least, we did foster strategic collaboration between the MRTOT and its counterpart government agencies in Georgia and the Republic of Moldova through experience sharing of best practices and lessons learned. Next slide. And the third domain was the institutional capacity development, where we worked also quite hard. And we assessed 10 management systems of the MRTOT and produced capacity assessment report based on the findings of this assessment. We then developed a one-year capacity building plan for the ministry, which was formally adopted by the State Secretary of the MRTOT. And under this approved capacity building plan, we succeeded to capacitate 50 officials of the MRTOT, including senior management staff like deputy ministers, through training and consultancies on multiple subjects, as well as produced 4 strategic and policy documents for the ministry. 2 of them have already been formally adopted as well. And next slide, please. And just in a nutshell about the future plans, which is also very exciting. So this year, we will be certainly continuing capacity building of the MRTOT, but we also would like to extend our interventions to the Ukrainian National Center for Peace Building, as well as State Statistics Service of Ukraine. And I will provide briefly under the IDP integration domain. we do intend to support the MRTOT and other state institutions in effective implementation of the IDP Integration Strategy, because it's one thing that it was successfully adopted, but it's also equally important to support its implementation process. And on that, we will foster coordination between different state institutions on national, regional, and local levels, as well as enhance the monitoring and evaluation systems for the IDP integration strategy. We also plan to capacitate government counterparts to improve the state statistics on IDPs in Ukraine and pilot the state monitoring of IDPs integration based on the guidelines that we have produced by our program and MRTOT last year. And finally, under the peace building domain, we would like to capitalize on the last year's successes and operationalize the conceptual framework for peace building policy in Ukraine and enshrin it into the work of the Ukrainian National Center for Peace Building. We will also be continuing strengthening peace building efforts of the MRTOT as well as the Ukrainian National Center for Peace Building, but also supporting creating synergies between the work of these two institutions. And finally, we did work very closely, as already mentioned, with civil society last year. And we would like to make this collaboration between state and the civil society more holistic, regular, and structured. So we will be supporting state civic partnership this year as well. And the last slide, which is a slide for the gratitude. So this is the team that I am proud of. As you can see, we are a very small team composed of 6 persons. And without them, these successes would not be, of course, materialized. But it needs to be said that there are also lots of experts and consultants from Ukraine, Georgia, Moldova, UK, who have been actually supporting our small team in delivering the work of CBCB program. Thank you very much for your attention.
Дуже дякую тобі, Ека.
Thank you so much, Eka, and I wish you success in this important task of strengthening the capacity of the government in the interests of the IDPs. And as I have mentioned in the beginning, it's very important for us to have the participation of the communities who have worked with DRC over the year, who got financial support from the governments of UK and Switzerland. The floor goes to Irina from Bilobotsk. Hello, dear participants of this event. Using this opportunity, I would like to express gratitude to the DRC team for this collaboration, thanks to which since 2021, 3 major projects were implemented in our community. Since June 2021, we have a career development center, which was already used by 600 clients. And as a part of the economic development project, there was a support for the food processing unit, which was able to broaden the scope of services, and right now it buys agricultural products from 450 households. And here I would like to discuss in more detail the project of waste collection and recycling. So this idea of the recycling project is necessitated by the numerous ecological problems, but also the desire of the local population to make some contribution into the solution. So the DRC team, the local activists, civil society organizations, and also Sergei Niklenko, the private businessman, with support of the local administration, joined the efforts to buy some special equipment and equipment for the separate collection of plastics and glass. And here are the results. Over 100,000 tons of paper, or 130 tons of glass, and 5 tons of plastic. So the project is scaling up. There are some future plans as well. The plans for the modernization of the landfill, purchase of new equipment, and the activists of the community, the youth council of the community, and other representatives of civil society promote this new approach in waste management. They conduct special lessons at schools, and right now we have quite big ambitions on broadening the scope of this project. And we do not rest on the laurels. We hope for the fruitful collaboration with DRC in the future. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much, Irina. And having been introduced to you and your project, I'm impressed by your enthusiasm and accomplishments. I wish you every success in search for additional financing, and I wish success to your business. Now, I would like to give the floor to Veronika Antonenko from Starobilsk. I know that Veronika is here with us. And also you need to turn your mic on. Introduce myself. I'm Veronika Antonenko, and it has so happened that I am an IDP for the last 8 years. We had quite a big business in Luhansk. We were supplying goods to a number of retail chains, but hopefully we were able to get back at least a part of our team, though we did not get back our equipment. So we took part in a DRC project. We got a set of equipment. We managed to bring our production process back online. And when the pandemic started, we faced a huge drop of sales. And the participation of the project, we were able to buy some photography equipment, and thanks to that we were able to increase our sales on the internet. Because we are a small town, we only have 26,000 people, but in the fashion industry, thanks to the photo equipment, we were able to become more active on the online platforms. We were able to modernize our online store. On the Instagram, we already got 4,000 subscribers. We produce high quality content. We are not depending on photo agencies, and we do this very quickly, and we are very mobile. So previously we only had 20% of online sales. Now we have 80%. So we are the very proof of the success of this project, because without this photo equipment, it would be very difficult to survive. Now we keep growing regardless of the pandemic, regardless of the tax restrictions that were recently introduced, but still we are right now giving additional jobs to people in Stanica Luhanska. We got new people working for us at home, and also in the village of Chepyhovka near Svatovka. We have a team of 3 ladies who won a grant, and that's another success story. So there are only 180 inhabitants in that village. Those 3 ladies won some grant from UNDP, but having the equipment does not mean having the possibility to earn. And thanks to collaboration with us, they are producing products for us, and this way they're earning money. So we are your success story, and please visit us. We are ready to showcase our success, and this work was not in vain. Yeah, it's a great pleasure to hear about your success. We do want to visit those places and to get introduced to the people who were able to restore their lives. We hope that this year is going to be more stable and there are going to be more visits. I wish every success to your business and wish you economic success. Yeah, so since we only had 2 people on our team in the very beginning, but we were able to restore our work to its previous scope. Thank you. Now, dear colleagues, dear participants, we have some time for questions and answers, for the comments, for feedback, for sharing thoughts. And now I would like to encourage you to be active in this. We have some time. Unfortunately, I don't see any hands risen, but if anyone wants to join the conversation, please turn on your microphone and speak up. If you permit, Dina, I'll start. On behalf of the Embassy of the UK, I would like to express our gratitude and congratulate the work you are doing. Previously, our Department of International Development was providing the support. Now we took on this role, and I was present always. I was introduced to many beneficiaries. So once again, we are expressing gratitude for the important work you are doing, for the wonderful program management, for the excellent team, for the tremendous collaboration, and I wish every success to your beneficiaries. I do understand that people need this and they benefit from this a lot. Thank you, Natalia, for your sincere assessment of our work. It's very important for us to understand that the project meets the actual needs. And the 2 examples we had here show that this support also contributes to more people. Once we support one business, immediately other people get orders or jobs, etc. Thank you. Now let's hear from Vladimir Mesiev, who is raising his hand. Thank you, Dina. I would like to express sincere gratitude to DRC for their initiatives, for their inspiration, for their hard work. And it's a pleasure to see the big picture, the work that's done by the entire DRC team in Ukraine. On our part, we are working with the economic support pillar, and for our project, it's a very important partner because you have your own vision, your own initiatives, great responsibility, and that's great to have such partners. And to me personally, in our work, it's very important to see that we are working to create something useful, to create something for the people living here beside us, and we cooperate quite well. And having such partners, I hope that we can do even more together. So we wish success to all of us. Thank you, Vladimir. And it's very important to have this assessment of the professionalism of the team and the management. Now, let's hear from Anna Kuznetsova and Svetlana Pachibut. Hello, Svetlana. First, I'd like to express gratitude to the DRC team for their contribution they are making to the economic development of Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, and also creating the safe environment that all of us need. The things you are doing are very important to us, and the impact on the citizens is quite strong, and people can see that sometimes someone is taking care of them. So we do hope that this work is going to continue for several years ahead. I have one brief question. Maybe I have missed something, but when you mentioned about the demining and explosive ordnance education, I only heard about Luhansk Oblast, but is there any similar work in Donetsk Oblast as well? I believe that our Almedina Music is going to join and answer, but from what I know, this training on explosive ordnance education, we are doing this with support of our partner, the Donetsk Institute of Postgraduate Education, and the information campaign that is implemented digitally. It covers two oblasts, both oblasts. So again, if Almedina or any colleagues from our team,
yes, Dina, thank you. And thank you, Svetlana, also for the question. Dina, what you said, it's fully right. So we do conduct risk education sessions and the training of trainers in both oblasts, Donetsk and Lugansk. And as I said, there is also victim support also covering both of the oblasts. However, and as far as the humanitarian demining activities, we are so far concentrating and focused only on Lugansk Oblast. And this is in line with our collaboration with other demining operators in the country, especially Hello Trust and FSD. With Hello Trust, it was the previous kind of arrangement to spread along the line of contact. So they focus on one area and we focus on another area in order to have the both oblasts covered properly and at the same time. It does not mean actually that we can't move. However, this will require additional operational capacity, like setting up operational room, radio room, etc., etc. So with the current funding, it will won't be possible so fast, but it's never know. And if there is a need, certainly we can move. So far, it's also very good covered by our colleagues from Hello Trust, and the population in Donetsk also have received support, release of these mines, thanks to other partners. Thank you.
Дякую, Альмедіна, за таку
Thank you, Almedina, for your in-depth response. Thank you, Svetlana, for your interest, and your Department of Innovation and Investment is very fruitfully collaborating with us. We have active working contacts. Thank you. Thank you for the collaboration, and thank you for the answer. And I also see that Anna wants to join the conversation. Yeah, thank you, dear colleagues. It's a pleasure to hear lots of words of gratitude from others. I would like to express gratitude on behalf of the government of Switzerland, and together with the UK, we are providing support to this program. We are pleased with the outcomes, and I would like to point out that in this program, we can see some real benefits for the end beneficiaries, for the service users. And it's a pleasure to hear today from Irina Kazakova, whom we have met previously in Bilobotsk, and also Veronika Antonenko, whom we haven't met yet, but it's a pleasure to hear that people succeed in making their ideas come true with the support of DRC team. And it's a pleasure to see the broader team of DRC, because, well, we normally talk to the program managers, but it's great to see the entire big team as well, those who are putting their daily efforts for this results to manifest. Yeah, thank you for your warm words, and did a lot of kind words could be heard here today. So this will be our emotional deposit that will be keeping us motivated throughout the year. So I can also see that there is Volodymyr raising hand. Is anyone else here who would like to express anything? I believe that we can end here. I'm very grateful to everyone who joined us today. You could indeed see the broader picture of the activities of DRC in Ukraine. I wish success and good health to all of us. I wish all of you to have a more stable and predictable year, to have all of our plans coming true. This event was being recorded. We plan to send the recording to those who participated today. You will be able to share this information with your colleagues. And thank you once again to the entire team, those who have presented their work today. And I hope to have more meetings with you this year. I wish all of us to be in good health and good mood. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Дуже дякуємо нашим перекладачам. Вибачте, я забула.